says, I saw the tree coming, I looked over and my mama was gone.
Hear from teachers still looking for their students and one man who lost everything. Why he says this was worse than when he served in Vietnam.
You still have time to make a difference for the people affected by Hurricane Helene. Our volunteers are waiting. Call right now.
Our temperatures are heating up. How hot and humid it will feel town by town before a real taste of fall moves in.
We were able to get Drone 5 in the air today, and this is what we saw. This isn't farmland or a drainage area. This was once an entire community. Specifically, this was the Garin Creek community in Black Mountain. Tonight, it's gone, washed away by Helene. This is what we keep seeing every day out of the North Carolina mountains. Thank you for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Our reporters have spent the week there. They've been there for quite a while longer. We want to walk you through some of the big updates that we've learned tonight. We now know at least 89 people have died from the storm in North Carolina. They include Michael and Nora Dry, as well as their 7-year-old grandson, Micah.
1,000 active duty soldiers, some from Fort Liberty, are headed to the area to help in the recovery effort. And classes at App State are canceled through at least October 15th. Today, President Joe Biden got a closer look at the damage, talking to people who lost everything, and the officials tasked with getting those people back on their feet. Brian Schrader is in the WRAL Live Center. Brian, Air Force One took off from RDU just moments ago.
Moments ago, indeed, and we are tracking the flight right now. It is heading into southern Granville County on its way back to Washington, D.C. President Biden's visits to the Carolinas started around noon today when Air Force One landed in Greenville. He took an aerial tour of some of the damage, and then he flew to RDU. This was right around 4:30 as the president got off the plane. He then drove out to the Emergency Operations Center on the west side of Raleigh, where he got a briefing with state officials, including Governor Roy Cooper, about how state and federal responses are ongoing in the western part of North Carolina as they respond to the damage from Helene. And he talked about how all of the power of the federal government is being brought to bear to help people.
The United States, the nation, has your back. The nation has your back. We're not leaving until you're back on your feet completely. My heart goes out to everyone who has experienced the unthinkable loss, but we're here for you.
Specifically, he talked about the 1,000 Fort Liberty soldiers who are being deployed into western North Carolina to help with emergency efforts, and also all of the FEMA crews that are there handing out food and water, going door to door, making sure that people have access to what they need. This is a picture from the White House on board Marine One as they flew over North Carolina. Governor Roy Cooper was there, the FEMA administrator, Deanne Creswell, and also Asheville's mayor was on. They all were there with the president as they looked at some of the damage over the Asheville area, then even over Chimney Rock and Lake Lure. The reporter who was on the pool traveling with the White House said that it was an incredible scene from the air.
All right, Brian. The devastation from Helene is all across the North Carolina mountains. That's why WRAL has gone from county to county, town by town, to really give you a sense of what's going on. So we've got this map on our website right now. You pick a spot, and then you can see our coverage from that area. Tonight, WRAL meteorologist Chris Michaels shares stories from Avery County and Newland, a couple that lost their home, and a middle school searching for missing children.
The raw emotion of these past 3 days has made this a very challenging story to tell, but it's not just a story, it's real life for those in the high country of North Carolina. Above our heads, the search for people continues over the Tow River. That search also continues here at Cranberry Middle School.
We have taken the class list from every grade, from pre-K through 8th grade, and we've written everybody's name down.
On this wall, a list of students. Some have been found, others have not been contacted. An emotional few days for Principal Emily Dellinger and teacher Caroline Turner.
Story of our kid who's witnessed his mom pass away in a mudslide, and he turns around and he says, I saw the tree coming, I looked over and my mama was gone.
Something no child should ever have to witness. For people like Bob Tatum, the reality is too tough to bear at times. Tatum is a Vietnam veteran and a fixture in the town of Old Minneapolis.
I was a combat infantryman in Vietnam.
Okay.
In the jungle.
For your service, by the way.
And I've never seen anything like this. I saw a lot of death and destruction in Vietnam, but my people are hurting in Avery County.
Trees tossed around, homes ruined, one of those being his. He lost everything he owned, but he and his wife got out at the last second.
If we'd have stayed there another 2 hours, we'd be a statistic here.
Some of their memories lying on the wet ground by the river.
The tow river behind me took all this rubble and shoved it against the bridge, and within that rubble, pieces of Tatum's home, including memories like this tin right here that used to have his wife's jewelry.
He now relies on his neighbors for the strength to make new memories in a home he'll rebuild up the road.
God bless you, Brian and Sarah. They were unbelievable. They still are. He told me yesterday, he said, I'm going to do some Boston Butts without barbecue.
And a faith that reaches higher than any search helicopter.
God is still good. He's still on the throne.
At Cranberry Middle, spirits remain high. Supplies keep coming in to be sent to those still on the other side of the rubble. Because as Tatum tells us,
but we're down, but we're not out. And we will survive.
A strength that will hopefully trickle down the mountains. It's a strength that we hope to bring home with us after we've been here for the past 3 days. In fact, I spoke earlier with Grace Holland for the Daily Download podcast. You can listen to that tomorrow morning on WRAL. And in the meantime, Saturday, I'm also going to be compiling a list of the people I spoke to, their stories, some of the images. I'm going to put that on WRAL.com so that their stories, their names are never forgotten. In Avery County, Chris Michaels, WRAL News.
The profound emotional impact from this storm is going to last a lifetime for so many people. We mentioned at least 89 people in North Carolina have died from this storm. The victims are as old as 89, as young as 4 years old. Many drowned or got caught in landslides. Others were hit by fallen trees or in car crashes on wet roads. DHHS says at least 2 died, quote, as a result of a lack of basic necessities. In other words, the storm trapped them. They didn't have any power, food, water, possibly not even shelter. They didn't have a way to call for help either.
And how awful is that? This inability to connect to the outside world, particularly at this level, is pretty unique to this disaster. Even after Hurricane Florence, 85% of cell sites held strong. Not this time. Many people who made it through Helene's wind and rain and floodwaters, people who should survive, are still in danger because they can't contact anyone. Canton is among one of the towns where this has really taken hold. These are pictures of the flooding there this week. The town's mayor says the lack of cell service is unacceptable.
What we have experienced, in my opinion, is an unacceptable and disgraceful breakdown of cellular technology. This is 2024, and we are having to deal with this crisis with 1990s technology, and this is unexcusable.
The mayor was able to talk to us using Starlink. That's a satellite internet service owned by Elon Musk. He and other companies are trying to help in all of this. This afternoon, Musk tweeted, Starlink terminals will now work automatically without need for payment in the areas affected by Hurricane Helene. T-Mobile brought in several mobile satellite trucks to Buncombe, Henderson, and Cherokee counties. They provide cell service and Wi-Fi regardless of what cell phone plan you have. Verizon did the same, deploying 20 mobile satellite units with 21 more on the way. Local companies have some solutions as well. Solistic, that's a company based in Durham, they're bringing mobile cell phone towers to Western North Carolina.
People that would normally help in a situation like this are having a really hard time with logistics.
Connectivity has woven itself into our everyday lives and is an essential part of our lives.
He's right. It is essential. We rely so much on these, on our phones, on the internet, on the cell service that we use. When that goes away, what do we do? For many in the mountains, the only place to turn was the radio. Not internet radio, not a podcast, over the air, tried and true, AM, FM radio. Those stations have been broadcasting information nonstop. I spoke to Laura Lee, a news director at Blue Ridge Public Radio. She told me that her station and others like it have become a literal lifeline.
We've been heartened and encouraged to know that people are using this information. You know, we've gotten reports that people use crank radios and their whole neighborhood gathers at 10 and 4 because they know that's when they're going to get that information. To know that, you know, the work that we're doing is helping get information out to people is the most fulfilling part.
People haven't just been gathering around their radios. They've been gathering in the middle of town, getting information the only way they can. These are pictures from Black Mountain and Marshall, a crowd of people gathering to get the latest updates on the storm and the recovery efforts because they don't have access to phone service or the internet. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? I've been thinking a lot about it, our reliance on these things, on our phones, how so much of my connection to everyone and everything lives inside of it. It's I've been imagining that story you just heard from Laura Lee with the radio about people gathering around those crank radios, and I think maybe I should get one of those crank radios. It's why we're going to keep telling these stories and why we will continue to stay on every angle, including this one, of this emergency. And it could be a while before everyone gets that cell service back on. Brian, you've been keeping an eye on the power outages out west in the WRAL Live Center.
Indeed, the utilities are really having to rebuild the power grid in many parts of western North Carolina. Latest update from poweroutage.us indicates just about 324,000 customers are still without electricity. Want to show you what Duke Energy crews are encountering at some of the substations. Tremendous damage, and in some cases they're going to have to be rebuilt completely. And in those cases, Duke Energy is bringing in these mobile substations to get people connected as quickly as possible. They are hoping to have the majority of customers who are able to receive electricity back online by tomorrow evening.
All right, Brian. You know, we get new video and pictures from western North Carolina pretty much all day long. Tonight, we get a closer look at the mudslide that took out a home in Watauga County. Hear from the woman who caught it all on video.
And our WRAL Cares phone bank is still going strong. I have not seen anyone sit there without a phone to their ear all day. The phone number is on your screen as we take a live look at the team taking your calls tonight, and it is not too late to donate.
Keely Arthur here with an update on how much we've raised so far. Kat Campbell is in the phone bank too. She's got your forecast after the break. I've got to show you this video of a mudslide roaring down a mountain in Watauga County. It happens fast, and it shows us just how quickly Helene became dangerous. This was in Sugar Grove. It was enough to knock a home off its foundation. WRAL's Julian Grace spoke to the woman behind the camera.
What you're witnessing here is a force of mud and water cascading down a hill in Sugar Grove, and just about everything in its path it left covered.
I'm okay.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay.
Everything's gone.
The voice you hear in this video is of Rachel Mosher. She's recording it all while gently reassuring her husband that everything will be all right.
Well, I was outside videoing, and it's a sheer coincidence that I got the mudslide on camera because obviously, if I had expected there to be anything like that, I would have tried to get to a safer place.
Let's take a look at what's left behind. The family sedan is trapped in mud. A home is badly damaged. But through it all, Mosher clings to her faith. Her family set up a GoFundMe to help recover what was lost and point people to organizations that are supporting the people of Western North Carolina.
We still have food and we've got drinking water. We still have one of our cars, so we have been able to get out and we've got shelter. I know our community as a whole, though, is hurting.
Reporting in Raleigh, Julian Grace, WRAL News.
So WRAL wants to help you help our neighbors as they recover from this historic flooding and damage caused by Helene.
5 on your sides, Keely Arthur has been out there listening to those phones ring all day, taking donations as people have really showed up for such a great cause, Keely.
I am smiling big because I am just so impressed with our community. Here in my hand represents just a handful of the generous viewers in this community who donated. I want to give you the total we have right now. It's $391,000. That's going to go to the Red Cross and the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. But guess what? That total is about to change. Check this check out. This is Libby with Lenovo. And Libby, how much money is this? And why did Lenovo want to do this?
We're very proud to be able to provide the American Red Cross $200,000 to support their hurricane relief efforts. Our hearts really go out to the community in Western North Carolina and across the Southeast that have been affected by the hurricane. And Lenovo's called North Carolina home for 20 years. And so these are our neighbors and our friends. We want to make sure that they're able to receive the relief that they need. I encourage everybody else to also consider picking up the phone and making a contribution this afternoon and this evening.
That is great advice. And she is with the folks from the Red Cross who are smiling big right now. She just said, hey, if you can still call, please do. And guess what? We are responding to Libby in real time. We're going to keep the phone lines open until 8 p.m. tonight. So this event was supposed to end at 7:30. We're keeping it open until 8 so you can continue to donate. But it doesn't stop there. Go to WRAL.com, search help, and you can continue to donate tonight. And I have here with me Kat Campbell. Kat, you were covering the carnage last week. Now we are looking at some clearer skies for all this relief.
And I think that we're going to see below normal rainfall in the mountains for quite some time. So we have some good news to report weather-wise. I got to give a couple shout-outs before I start with weather. Daniel, $1,000, and John and Jeannie, $2,500. We're doing great work here, folks. It's going to be a long time to rebuild. A lot of homes need to be rebuilt as well. So let's get into the long-range rainfall outlooks. These just came in updated today from the Climate Prediction Center. Below normal rainfall in the forecast for next week. Below normal rainfall this weekend, next week, and then let's go out even farther, all the way through the middle of October. Below normal rainfall is in the forecast across North Carolina, and that is what we like to see after an event like this. There was some concern floating around social media about something developing in the Gulf. The chance of that happening is still 40%, and we still feel confident that that's not going to have an impact on us, and that's definitely good news. That plume of moisture should stay south of North Carolina, could impact Florida, but that system really doesn't look strong. Tropical depression number 13 formed today. That one is all the way on the other side of the ocean, so at this point, I wouldn't worry about that one much, but we'll keep an eye on it for you as it's likely to become Tropical Storm Leslie. The dual Doppler 5000 radar beginning to settle down. We expected that after sunset tonight, and that trend should continue. The weekend will be warmer. We're likely to be back in the mid-80s this weekend. It's going to be pretty muggy as well. Only a 20% chance for rain Saturday. As we look outside, the setting sun with these early sunsets looking pretty good out there tonight. Over the next 7 days, we have some temperature ups and downs. We're going to be warm this weekend in the 80s. Next week, here comes fall. High temperatures are back in the 70s. Check out that last low temperature there, 49 degrees. Fall is on the way. Folks, don't forget, call in at home. No donation amount is too small. And check this out. We've got the WRAL team here answering the phones. Meteorologist Mike Mays, Julian Grace here on the phones as well. So give us a call. The number 919-595-5005. We thank you for your help. You're making such a difference.
Absolutely. And hey, if you can't get through, Kat, right? If you can't get through, you can go online to WRAL.com. We've got a link. It's right on the homepage, and you can donate online as well.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, one last thing for you tonight. We've seen so much generosity going out to the North Carolina mountains.
We want to highlight the great work that all of you are doing, that everyone has been doing, and give more answers to that question of how can I help? That's in about 2 minutes. All week, our one last thing here at 7 o'clock will be about empowering each other to help our neighbors to the west.
If you point your phone's camera to the QR code on your screen, and then you click the link that shows up, you'll see a bunch of options. We want to highlight just a few of the ways that you are helping, even from hundreds of miles away. A bunch of major grocery stores are doing their part. Wegmans has a donate option at checkout. Harris Teeter has been handing out water at its locations. Food Lion donated $1.5 million.
Asheville is, of course, a huge craft beer town. Local craft breweries are working together to honor that and to help with recovery. Deep River Brewing in Clayton is taking donations. They also have a beer on tap where the sales will go to the relief effort. Trophy Brewing in Raleigh and Full Steam Brewing in Durham are doing the same. At Rocky Mount Mills, they are canning water. They've already sent in 4,800 cans with another 7,500 requested for next week.
A commercial painting company based in Raleigh helped a nonprofit deliver thousands of hygiene products to women out west. National Coatings has a helicopter and flew supplies back and forth. While out there, they spotted this. People stranded on a washed out road. SOS Can you see that? Painted on the pavement. They landed the chopper and flew those people to safety.
What a story. There's a week-long donation drive underway in Smithfield right now. Johnston County's government, the sheriff's office there, the county emergency services, they're all hosting this. Donations can be dropped off at the Johnston County Sheriff's Office in Smithfield through Friday.
And you don't need a chopper or a fleet of tractor trailers to help. The Hindu Society of North Carolina in Morrisville gathered bottled water and other supplies. A truck driver hauled it off late last night. Incredible.
We're throwing a lot of options at people, and I know that sometimes that can feel a little overwhelming, but all you got to do is just pick one group, one place to donate, and that can really make a difference. Even after the WRAL Cares phone bank ends at 8 o'clock, you can, of course, donate online. WRAL.com. We'll have a link for you on the homepage.
Again, that money goes to the Red Cross and the North Carolina Hurricane Relief Fund. That is all for now. Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and 11 p.m. on WRAL. Have a good night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.